Bulgy, the double-decker bus, was trundling down the roads at the superstation. He was delivering some excited passengers to the station.
Ugh, all this jolliness makes me want to drive off a cliff.
Bulgy grumbled all the way to the station, where Edward was waiting with some coaches.
You know what I enjoyed the most about being a vegetable stand? Vegetables don't get excited, don't make noise, they don't jump around inside you, dawn till dusk.
Oh, come on, Bulgy, get a sense of humour. The happier the passengers are, the better our ratings are. Passengers keep our railways and roads going.
Rubbish. Once upon a time, passengers would sit on their backsides and read a newspaper. These days, they jump around, and some of the passengers have incredibly fat...
Bulgy.
Bulgy groaned and rolled away. The guard's whistle blew, and Edward hurried off.
One day that bus will learn how important his job really is.
Bulgy's last stop was at the steamworks. A large street of shops was a few yards away, and this was the closest Bulgy could get. Mike, the Arsdale engine, was also at the steamworks. He had broken down delivering George the steamroller to help fix a bumpy road. Mike was a grumpy engine who hated passengers.
Hello there, bus. You don't look happy.
My name is Bulgy, and no, I'm not.
And why's that?
Those stupid railways, getting my passengers into some kind of frenzy. Not to mention that blue engine trying to tell me the importance of passengers. Ugh.
So you dislike railways?
Railways would be so much better ripped up.
It would seem that you and I have a common goal, Bulgy. The destruction of railways. It's like I always say, railways are no good, turn them in the roads.
What should we do?
Simple. Turn this beautiful railway into a road. I have found many workmen here in my time on Sodor. These poor men are paid very little for their troubles, unable to provide for their families. So they would like to pay back Fat Hat as much as me. They can rip up the rails while I tarmac them.
And why do I fit into all of this?
Distraction, my friend. Wherever me and the men work, it's up to you to make sure they are undiscovered. You will do this by breaking down. By the time they've finished checking you over, I will have at least turned one bit of rail into a road. As for what I'll do next, I'll think of something.
I'm right here, you know. I can hear everything.
Well, there goes your brilliant plan.
Not necessarily. Mike, I have a little proposition for you. What if you never had to pull passengers again?
I'm listening.
By the time they're done here, they'll have to shut this line down. And when they do, there won't be any passenger trains.
Well, how does that sort out passengers on the Arelsdale Railway?
Quite simple. When we've turned the superstation into a road, we will have established an empire. We will negotiate terms afterwards, one of which will be Mike will only have to pull trucks. What do you say?
Oh, well, I'm in.
Good, engine. Now we shall set our plans into motion.
That night, Edward was talking to the other engines at the shed. Mike had been mended.
Today I met a very grumpy bus. He was going on and on about how much he hated passengers.
He needs to appreciate his blessings. What do you think, Mike?
Mike hadn't been paying attention. He was too busy thinking about Bulgy and George.
Well, what was the question again?
Did you see Bulgy today?
Bulgy? Oh, I never heard of Bulgy. Oh, you lucky soul.
The next morning, Mike met up with George and Bulgy by the diesel works.
Good morning, everyone. Here are the men I was talking about. Meet Dave, Bob, Jones, and that guy. We'll start work on the track here. Mike, there's a truck of cement at the station. Would you be kind enough to collect it for us, please?
Of course I will. I'll get it now.
Once Mike left, Bulgy drove to a corner of the track. He heard Edward puffing towards him.
Please stop. I've broken down.
Are you sure you have? Or are you just trying to get out of doing work?
I may be grumpy, but I wouldn't get out of my job.
I'm very sorry I accused you. My driver will call Butch right away.
Bulgy grinned. The plan was working. Meanwhile, George was growing impatient.
Where's Mike? Edward won't stand there forever.
One more here. I'll have to say I won't miss this place one bit. Here I've broken down pulling a heavy load, been derailed by an idiot, and had to pull a huge coach and push a whiny brat at the same time.
Well, you won't have to stomach it for much longer. Let's move.
George saw Butch turning away Bulgy. Edward was heading their way. Quickly, Jones ran over and switched the points, forcing Edward to stop. Sorry, Edward, there's been a derailment ahead.
Oh dear. I hope this engine's all right.
George and the men set to work changing the track to road. Bulgy drove up.
So they figured it out quickly then.
Yes, they did. So they know I faked a breakdown, and the changing of the points has led some men to believe we're on to something.
Relax, Bulgy. When they figure out what we're doing, it'll be too late. Mike, you can go on now.
So Mike set off, but stopped when he heard they were still talking.
So what are we going to do about the red guy?
The superstation is just the first step, Bulgy. Then we'll take the Northwestern, Arelsdale, and Skarloey. Mike will be heading off with the others to the scrap heap when we're done with them.
Scrap heap? Those fiends. I'm too good, too young, too beautiful, Sir Scrap. What have I done? I must stop those two.
Mike raced to Edward.
Hello, Mike. I don't think we can get through. Apparently there's been a...
No, there hasn't! It's a trick! George and Bulgy are working together with underpaid workmen to wipe out Sodo's railways. They're turning the superstation into a roadway.
Are you sure?
You know what? There's no time for verbally proving it. See for yourself.
Mike's driver switched the points back and Edward rounded the bend and saw George and Bulgy at work.
I will go to the Fat Controller immediately.
No, I've got a plan.
Mike explained the plan to Edward. Edward raced to a construction site where the pack was working, while Mike raced to the Fat Controller.
Sir, you gotta listen. There's a plot to destroy the railways. It's ghastly, I tell you. It's ghastly.
All right, Mike. I shall go and investigate the matter.
There's not a lot of time. Get in my cab. I'll take you to the perpetrators.
This will bring about the end of engines once and for all.
I will hand it to you. You know what you're doing, George.
George rolled onto the rail.
Time to make this nice and flat.
Hello there.
How did you...
Find out.
Traitor!
I think I'd better go.
Bulgy raced off, but suddenly the pack surrounded him in all directions. He was blocked.
I don't think so.
Well, you two, I must confess I would never expect this kind of behaviour. George, you have been nothing but trouble during all time on this island. Also, I don't think we need two steamrollers when we've got Buster, who is a lot more pleasant than you. I shall make arrangements as soon as possible to have you sent away. Bulgy, I can't make your punishment quite as drastic, but you are forbidden from service for 3 months. Edward and Mike, I am pleased with your efforts to stop these two.
The Fat Controller turned to the men.
So I've heard that you lot aren't paid enough. Well, after this, you will no longer have to wear the uniform because you're all fired.
Yes, sir.
You shouldn't be proud of me, sir. You should be ashamed. I was part of the plan. I even bought the truck of cement. I just didn't know the extent of what they were planning.
I see. I'm glad you learnt your lesson, but I will be contacting Mr. Duncan, although I'll tell him to bear your heroic actions in mind when deciding your punishment.
Yes, sir.
You did well today, Mike. It takes a brave engine to admit they were wrong and to do something about it.
Thank you, Edward.
For a few weeks, the lines that George had worked on were closed, while the pack worked to turn them back into rail. George the steamroller was sent away. He was still grumbling when he was loaded onto his ship. Mike managed to get away with 3 weeks in his shed, but he was happy that he had done the right thing.